Today, on Running to Him, if we want to exhibit Christ in our lives, we must act righteously. If you're joining us in going through Proverbs, today's reading is Proverbs chapter 3, verses 16 through 35, and we will concentrate on verses 27 through 31. Proverbs 3:27 through 31 says this, "Do not withhold good from those whom it is due, when it is in your power to do so. Do not say to your neighbor, 'Go and come back, and tomorrow I will give it,' when you have it with you. Do not devise harm against your neighbor, while he lives securely beside you. Do not contend with a man without cause, if he has done you no wrong. Do not envy a man of violence, and do not choose any of his ways." Well, these 5 verses are the do-nots of a person who wishes to live righteously. They are the golden rule expanded to give a greater example of what it looks like to live righteously. First, we are to do good to people to whom good is due. We are to only owe love to anyone. Not doing good to whom good is due is one of the major problems that many have to contend with. It is easy for us to expect that people do good, that we fail to give it. I remember when I was a very small child, as a matter of fact, it's one of my most vivid memories, right after Christmas, we were all required to sit down and write thank you notes to those who had given us Christmas presents. We all hated the task, not because it was difficult, but it took us away from having fun. We were sacrificing time from our toys to write some letter. Little did we realize the pleasure that we were giving our grandparents through that little gesture. Verses 28 and 29 both refer to harming our neighbor in some way. The first is not giving that which is due, and the second is by planning to harm him in some way. In either case, we would not be reflecting our relationship with Christ. We are called to exhibit love and gentleness to everyone. By withholding something or actively planning harm, we are damaging our witness. Another way to communicate this principle in verse 39 is to say, "Don't kick the cat. He didn't do anything to you." After a hard day at work where nothing went right, do you come home and lay into your wife, kids, or the cat? They don't deserve your anger. They haven't done anything to deserve it. Finally, we are not to envy or follow a man of violence. This principle may be very hard to follow, not because we envy the violence, but because we envy the power that the person might have. There used to be a man who was the head of a very popular Silicon Valley company. He would famously scream and belittle you for the most minor mistake or an action perceived by him as being a failure. Yet he was looked up as one of the most successful men in the area. We represent the God of the universe, and that's not the way he wants us to act. Now, one of the last times that Peter saw Christ after the resurrection was on a beach where Christ cooked breakfast for he and the other disciples. Christ could have laced into Peter for what he had done at the trial, but instead asked Peter if he loved him. That's the way we are to respond to all, with compassion and grace. Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.